Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out AmItheA whole. Story 1. AITA for cancelling a trip with my boyfriend because my friend needed me. My boyfriend, M27, and I, F26, have been together for 4 years in total. We dated for 3 years, broke off for a couple months, and then got back together. Since we got back together, he's been very needy and insisting that we should spend more time together, which is nice, but I sometimes feel like he's a bit pushy honestly. He doesn't like it at all when I go out with friends or insists to come too, every time. So the issue is that he had a work trip to Boston last week. It really was just a meeting on Saturday with some people from the company. He asked me if I wanted to come too, and we could spend the weekend there, as a little gateway. I said yes and was excited for the trip. However, my best friend, M26, got into a car accident the Wednesday before the trip. It wasn't that bad, but he broke an arm and was generally bruised and in a bad shape emotionally. So I told my boyfriend I won't be able to go to the trip since I wanted to be there for my friend. He got very angry. He told me that he's fine and doesn't really need me there. I told him that he does, and the trip really wasn't anything special, just a work trip. He was upset, so he said a lot of things, like saying if I just want to continue being single then I shouldn't have agreed to get back to him and such. We argued very bad that night honestly. The next couple days he tried changing my mind, but as he couldn't, he let it go. However, since he came back he's been acting very cold toward me and practically ignoring me when I ask him for the trip. He just tells me it was fine or you would know if you had come too. I'm very annoyed with him. I feel like he doesn't want to understand my side. But AITA? Story 2. AITA for not letting my friends stay over at my house when they traveled to visit and refusing to pay for their hotel. I, 25F, have friends, a couple, that moved a while back to another state because of college, and decided to stay there even after graduating. We keep contact via texting and video calls, but we've never seen each other face to face since they moved. They decided to travel to the city I live in so we can spend time together. We had all chosen a lot of things to do in the 2 weeks they're supposed to spend here. The conflict is that I don't want them to stay at my apartment, like, sleep there overnight, while they're here, but they don't have family or other friends in this state or close by that they can stay with, which means they'd have to pay for a hotel. A day ago, when they arrived, we were talking and I asked them which hotel they picked. They were confused and Anna, 26F, asked what I meant. They thought they were going to stay at my apartment with me. We hadn't discussed where they would stay before they came here, and I assumed they knew they were going to stay at a hotel since they have never stayed at my home like that and they know I don't let anyone stay over like that. Not even my parents or my boyfriend. They said they thought I had changed my mind about these things, but I never said I had, they just assumed I did. I live at an apartment alone and even though there isn't a guest room I have my old mattress that I could put on the living room or on my hobbies' room, or they could sleep on the couch. But I refused to do so and to pay or help pay for the hotel. They're both very annoyed with me and think I'm being selfish, but James, 25M, is furious. He thinks I am being ridiculous. Anna accepted to pay, but James wants to either go back or make me let them stay in my apartment. They're staying at a hotel at the moment and we didn't do what we planned to yesterday. Anna texted me that she's trying to convince James to stay in the hotel, and maybe she will, but nonetheless they both think I should change my mind. The reason I don't want them, or anyone, to stay over is because it makes me very uncomfortable to have someone in my home while I am asleep or not there. I hate the idea of someone touching my things without my permission or seeing something I'd rather they not see, or even stealing something. And they know that, but thought I had become more lenient about it. I asked my parents and other friends what they think and the general consensus is that it would be nice of me to let them stay, but since I am known to be quite neurotic between our friends and family and it's not like I told them I changed my view nor implied they would stay, I wouldn't be in the wrong if I don't allow it. Story 3. AITA for kicking my niece out for a few hours. My brother and his daughter, 14, are staying with me and my mom for a while until they find a house in our town. His daughter is probably the most annoying and rudest kid on earth. The other day I was home alone with her and I was trying to study for my college exams. She was watching the TV and it was very loud. I asked her to turn it down. She said use a noise-cancelling headphone. We got into an argument and she was being very rude. I told her this is my home she lives in right now so she needs to respect me and she answered by telling me to stop mooching off my mom and move out. I was so angry I kicked her out of the house just to get a few quiet hours. When my brother found out he was very angry and called me an asshole. I told him his daughter was being rude but he wouldn't listen to me. Story 4. AITA for not posting family pictures with my stepson. I, 31F have a stepson that is 11M. I have been in his life since he was 2 and he lives with us part-time. That being said, I have a really great relationship with his mom. Ever since she got out a few years ago, we went to 50-50th custody almost immediately. We have agreed on everything and respected each other's wishes. One of her wishes was that she no longer wanted my husband or I to post pictures of stepson online. Not a big deal, we know there are creepers out there. Fast forward to Easter time, I had some professional pictures of us as a family, myself, hubby, stepson, and baby son. I don't ever spend money on professional photos, but I got a great Groupon and since the holiday was a few weeks away, I figured why not? About 95% of the pictures were all together. However, I got a few photos of just myself, my hubby, and baby so I could get a new profile picture for social media. Anyway, we get the finished, edited, photos a few weeks later and I print a bunch. I give family photos to everyone including Mill and Phil, aunts/uncles, and my stepson's mother. She loved the photos and even hung one in her house. After that, I downloaded the digital ones and posted the pics of myself, hubby, and baby. I was very careful not to put any pictures of stepson on social media, they all look alike in a folder, per his mother's request. About a day after I had posted it, I got a really aggressive text message from stepson's mom. She said she didn't appreciate the fact I had posted family pictures and made her son feel bad. I texted back and said I didn't understand. She didn't want his pictures on social media, also how would he know about it when he isn't on social media? It has been over 24 hours and she hasn't messaged me back, but I took down the profile picture anyway. Did I cross some sort of line? AITA? Update, thank you all very much for your posts and suggestions, I did take few to heart. My stepson and his mother FaceTimed a bit ago and let me know what was going on. My stepson loves phone games, but per his mom's rules he does not have his own phone. He does use both her phones to play Angry Birds or one of those other games when he is bored. He had apparently been logging on to mom's Facebook for a while because she is only friends with family and he can see his cousins, on both sides, etc. He had seen me posting pictures of myself and my husband/baby for a long time. But he didn't think anything of it, because he was at his mom's house when he was looking at these pictures, of course he couldn't be in them. However, this time when he saw the professional photos, he recognized them. Every single family member had gotten photos and had told him he was so handsome and how he looked great with his brother. But the photos on social media he had never seen before. I hadn't printed any because they were never meant to be printed. He realized that he had been kicked out of the pictures and was devastated. Mom couldn't get the full story out of a sobbing 11-year-old, but knew that it had to do with photos. Since he had recently been with us, she thought I had shown it to him and made him feel excluded. When I had replied with my questions, she investigated more. Once she figured out the whole situation, they did discuss her policy and he was very angry with her about it. This whole thing had occurred over many hours and she never got back to me. They were both exhausted and just went to bed afterwards. She admitted she was embarrassed about basically causing the whole issue, but honestly I don't blame her. The policy that she put in place was many years ago, before baby was born. I read what you all said about thinking about what he would have thought about that when he eventually grew up. I probably should have checked up with her to see if we could update the policy and then respect whatever she chose, but since he is only 11 I didn't think it mattered age-wise. After discussing it with Mom, she has agreed that we can post pictures of him once he is 13. He is happy since she was planning on 18. Things are all good with Mom and we are going to continue to co-parent as normal. Thank you all for your help and support. As for some of the questions, I will just answer them here. No, there were not any pictures of him, my husband, and I alone because we were in an outdoor hiking area and could not leave the baby alone. My stepson did get a few pictures of him and my husband, those were some of the ones he received. No, I do not think she is still in love with my husband. She is married with a little girl. As for whether or not my son noticed he is not in pictures, he is in a ton of photos. Those photos just don't go on Facebook. They are given to his mom or on the digital album that has them on a slideshow. Trust me, he isn't neglected. LOL. Story 5. AITA for telling my in-laws that we are not getting a TV for their dog when they come to stay. If you read my last post here, it was about my over-invasive in-laws and they are now planning on coming up again later this summer. Thing is, they have a very eccentric dog who they cater to and treat like a baby, and this dog is spoiled rotten. He will bark non-stop for hours at a time and they just tune him out instead of trying to correct the problem. Well, when they go to bed they have to leave the lights and a TV on for him or he will just cry and pace around the room until he gets what he wants. Just recently they asked my wife if she would go out and buy a new TV for our guest room. At the moment we do not have one in there because the room only gets used a handful of times a year and the living room is just on the other side of the wall, so there is really no need for another TV on the same floor. We both said no to that request, but then were asked if we could move the one from our master down to their room when they are there, and again we said no, we are not doing that just for the dog. There is literally nothing to put the TV on from our master as it is a 65 and will not fit on the tiny dresser we have in there. Am I the asshole for saying no to getting a new TV or moving my big ass one just for a dog? Link to my first post about them. Story 6. AITA for shaving and not informing my partner of 4 months. Today I shaved my face because here in the UK it's humid and muggy. I informed my partner of 4 months that I had done so, to then be proceeded to be told that she had every right to know and that it's a lack of communication. The hair isn't the issue. It's the fact I did not tell her beforehand, that is, I told her she had no right in being annoyed with me shaving my face because I'm allowed to do whatever I want to it, and that if any changes were done to her face/body I wouldn't care because it's her entitlement to do so. She then berated me about how it's untrusting to not communicate with someone about something and that she's annoyed I just didn't ask or inform her. I personally don't know if I'm in the wrong as I am autistic and my social skills and bogged down by what I feel is best for me. Not in a mean way, more self-preservation. I'd sent a humorous video to her explaining why I did this and she didn't understand that I didn't ask her beforehand because I didn't want the back and forth of her saying no and me saying yes for me to do it and her be annoyed at me anyway, so I sidestepped that whole bit and made it a joke. Am I the asshole for not informing her about this change? That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.